Good evening everyone and welcome to TTL F1 for League 2. We are here for round 4 of the championship here from the Hockenheim Ring in Germany, of course. Welcome everyone, I am James Head, going to be taking you through the stream here tonight. Joining me in the commentary box as always is Mr. Paco Suarez. Paco, how you doing?
Well, really well. I mean, in isolation, I think everyone is the same. You know, you don't have that much things to do, but at least I have like motivation, you know, to at least keep myself calm, to be here to commentate and enjoy probably good racing.
I think honestly tonight is going to be really well received, and honestly I think the driving is going to be fantastic out on track. Of course we are here within isolation, within lockdown still, to be extended of course I think in the UK, and obviously we're here for Germany in round 4 of the championship. But let's reflect on what happened last week. Maximus taking his first ever win in TTL F1 League 2 last week I should say, in Britain. Axner second, Key in third. Would you want to see more of the same for Maximus here tonight? He's certainly got the form between himself.
Like, I've always believed in Maximus. Like, I think he definitely has the pace, you know, and that he can show or
Do you have an invite to the lobby, by the way?
Right now, thank you very much.
I've just given you one there. That's why we went on a bit of a blue screen for a minute there. I do apologise, but my co-commentator does need that invite, of course. Looking at what happened last week then in terms of the standings, and we'll come on to that in just a second, but Pariah took pole, Maximus took the win last time out. Stick 'em up, driver of the day was TTG Maximus, and I think, honestly, it was well deserved.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he did an amazing race. I mean, as I said, it was really difficult to choose that driver of the day. I mean, I didn't wanna like choose someone because it was really difficult to do so. But definitely he was one that deserved that driver of the day. He did an amazing job, really good comeback. He stayed calm, and in the end, he was able to sneak a podium.
Yeah, and honestly, I think we should see more of the same from him here tonight. Germany, of course, a very tricky track. Let's have a look then at the drivers' standings. Key on top on 50 points coming into tonight, with Storm in second on 43 and Mashiro in third on 37 points. It is quite close between the top 5 in the standings. Hades and Axnes are drawn literally on 32 points for 4th. In 6th is Maximus after that win last time out in Britain. He is on 25 points. Daniil in 7th on 19. Pariah in 8th on 19 as well, so they're tied for 7th. Tied for 9th. That's a little bit of a glitch on my standings there. Mays in 9th on 11 points, and Lord Hulton in 10th on 8 points. Looking at the top 10 then, Key obviously on top coming into tonight, but is there anybody that really strikes out that could have a good race tonight and that haven't necessarily done well in previous weeks?
Well, it's actually a really good question. Like, I would say maybe Conti, but he's not gonna be today, unfortunately. But maybe I would have to stick with maybe Lord Holt. No, Lord Holton is not going to be today neither. At the back I cannot see anybody that I think that haven't done well. I mean, Maith last week did an amazing job. He finally did a really great race. So maybe we'll have to watch out for him on the race. But I don't really see anybody else apart from Maith that could show up today.
Well, looking at the bottom half of the standings as well, Charlie going on 8 points, Atlas Copo on 7, Passel's on 6, Billy, who's not making it due to another event, he's on 4 points in 14th, Jeffrey in 15th on 3, Shumi in 16th on 1, Conti, as you alluded to, not making it here tonight, he's on the nil point currently. There's a few drivers actually tied for 17th down the bottom, Conti, Tom, Vax Viking and Storm. We do have YWR Storm here tonight. Is tonight the night where he could potentially pick up his first point of the season?
I don't know, like, I see him a little bit off to pace, you know, and I've raced against him, but I'm not sure if he's gonna be able to be up there. Let's hope that he can do a good race. I think that today is the day to actually show up, as the turnout is not perfect, you know, so he might have more chances to sneak some points today. So let's hope he can do well, but personally, I don't think so. I hope that he can shut up my mouth, but I don't think he will.
Yeah, hopefully we do get to see some good racing from YWR Storm. McLaren, by the way, leading on 87 points in the constructor standings, and we'll come on to these now. Racing Point in second on 51 points. Toro Rosso in third on 51. Alfa Romeo on fourth on 39, with Mercedes in fifth on 25. Ferrari in sixth on 20. Renault in seventh on 17. Williams in 8th on 8. Haas in 9th on 4. And Red Bull in 10th on 3. McLaren running away with things early on in the constructor standings.
Yeah, I mean, I think they have a solid lineup, you know. Both drivers are showing that they are capable of having good pace in the race, and they are making strong comebacks, you know, when they don't qualify well or things don't go as planned. So I think they're pretty strong, and honestly, I don't see anyone challenging them.
Looking through some of the comments then that have been coming through, and obviously, hopefully we are going to get some great racing here tonight, and we are just now loading into the lobby here for short qualifying. Looking through the comments, a very interesting comment actually coming earlier on, about 5 minutes ago this was. I preferred the original track with the long journey. Why don't we have a look then at the track map in question here in Hockenheim. 17 corners await the drivers out on track, 2 DRS zones, some very fearsome corners out on track, especially turns 1 and 6 I allude to, always within my commentaries, and they are the proceeding for the DRS zones as well on this track, down towards turn 2 and then down towards the hairpin at turn 6. But a very technical track, especially in the middle sector, where turns 8, 9, 10 and 11 are. Yes, trust me, there's 4 corners there. I would love to have a debate about it on the stream as well. But speaking of which, I think this track will pose a big threat for the drivers out on track. And not like last night in TTL F1, it was overcast conditions in qualifying. It's bloody blue skies now.
Yeah, I mean, right now it's like clear, totally clear, and I think that some corners to keep to be aware of is probably turn 1. I think that's the most difficult corner on this track, and drivers will have to be really careful when going through turn 1.
Yeah, drivers are going to have to be careful, especially going through quite a few corners, I think, out on track that will cut out the drivers, especially on that inside curve through turn 1, as you speak about. I've seen numerous occasions, even last night I saw on numerous occasions, that drivers were invalidating through there. Hopefully it doesn't happen here tonight. We are now going... But we're now going live with the action. Pariah out on track first. He's on a set of hard compound of tyres. And the common theme that I saw last night early on in qualifying was that drivers opted to go for a set of hards or a set of mediums in qualifying. It then turned out to be a full wet race. Are we going to see the same tonight in terms of the tyre strategies in qualifying? Pariah on a set of hards and Jeffrey, just to point out, on a set of mediums as well.
I mean, it's actually a good question. Like here, generally it's a one-stop strategy. You know, hards, mediums, or medium hards. So maybe we could actually see some weird weather. You know, being brought. You know, maybe some rain. I don't really know. It's gonna be tricky for drivers right now. Maybe it's gonna make some drivers go out on the softest tire, but actually you might be right there. It could actually be an interesting factor to look during the session.
Purple first sector then for Pariah as he's now up towards the hairpin at turn 6. We flick right on board there with the onboard shot coming through turn 6. Very nice deep line through the corner. Now up towards turn 7 and then to the fearsome Mercedes-Benz grandstand section through 8, 9, 10, 11. Yes, trust me, there are 4 corners here. That's 9, that's 10, and then on the exit is turn 11. Yeah, 3-4 corners, have your own thoughts about that. 50.4 through the middle sector for Pariah, and on a set of hard compound of tyres, that is not too bad at all as he now comes through the Sachs curve, famously where Vettel went off in 2018 from the lead of the race. Pariah then coming through turn 16 at Sud curve, where it caught Charles Leclerc and Bottas, I think, out amongst others in 2019. Pariah now coming across the line, and it's a 13.2. Not a bad opening lap.
No, definitely it's not. I mean, it actually surprised me a bit. I think that he can actually improve a little bit more, but it's actually a quite competitive lap.
It is quite a competitive lap. I definitely agree on that. YWR Storm taking his own track limits there through the final corner. He's not going to go quicker than Pariah. It's still a valid lap somehow. Even after that, it's a 14.4 from the Mercedes man, and that was a very wide out angle coming through. Atlas Coppola, I think, has just gone on to lap. Same with Jeffrey, both of whom have invalidated actually through turn 1. So both of them are off on a lap. OWR Daniil, though, in the meantime, in the Ferrari, currently in the standings, he's in 7th position on 19 points. How do you see the man doing out on track? He's on a set of hard compound of tyres. He should set a good lap here.
He might. I mean, it seems he is going fast, and honestly, I think he's doing quite well on the championship. I think he is picking up some good points, and today he might do as well. You know, whenever he is up there, he shows to have pace and to be ready to fight, and today it won't be different, I think. And right now he's finishing the 2nd sector, and it seems he's attacking the corners, the apex, and I don't know if that's the game or not, but he's going purple, I think, although he goes a bit wide there. And now closing up to the 3rd sector, finishing his lap, getting closer to the section where many drivers lost their options of victory on the 2019 German Grand Prix, and he's gonna finish the lap, and it's gonna be 1:13.12.
Just lost a little bit of time actually through the final sector there, did Daniil. He was 2 tenths up on Pariah through the middle sector, so all of that time has completely gone within the final sector, but 16 hundredths of a second ahead of Pariah. To be honest, if I've got to give a little bit of criticism, I think he can go quicker than that.
Yeah, definitely, and I think it's not only Daniel. I think both of them can go quicker than that. So probably today on hards we might see 12.9, I think, with the hards.
12.9 on a set of hards. Is that a prediction that you've made already within 6 minutes of qualifying?
Well, if you want to take it as that, you can take it.
Oh, Storm actually coming in with a 12.9 on a set of medium compound of size there. But he goes 3 tenths quicker nonetheless. I was just running on board with Tom at the end of his lap on the Welshman with a 13.8 out on track with a going 4th. Axnes, one of our main championship contenders coming into tonight, has invalidated on this lap. Looks like he'll be coming back into the pits. Vex in the meantime though, right on board with Jeffrey, across the line, 13.3 on a set of medium compound of tyres. But honestly, as the track wear gets higher around the track, surely these guys will be going quicker as the session progresses.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it's something we all know, you know, and I think this will maybe some drivers like probably Mashiro will do bunker laps, and just in the end, you know, in the final laps of the quali session, they will go for the fastest with maybe the hardest tire.
YWR Storm round through Sud curve at turn 16. That's where the yellow flags are. He's very much struggling out on track. He's lost his right side end plate, I think, there as well. Let's go on board then with the man who you were just speaking about, Mashiro. He's on a set of soft compound of tyres. Fastest of everyone in the 1st sector. I don't understand his strategy, to be honest. He's on a set of softs with 7 minutes gone in qualifying. I think the advantage will be towards the end of qualifying.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, but today is not the day to quali on soft. I think Mashiro is just playing with us, you know. If he finishes this lap, I would be surprised. I mean, if he finishes the lap with a competitive time, I would get surprised. But probably he'll go just to the pits, or he'll just back off. But I don't think he's gonna finish the lap.
I think this is a lap, to be honest. 49.4 through the middle sector, quicker than Storm by about 0.7 of a second through there. Mashiro coming through the final couple of corners now. Let's see then if he teases us on this lap. He's not. He is going to go for this lap, and he's going to set us off compound of tyres around the final corner. The first 1:11 of the night here for Mashiro. Across the line, 11.4 and 1.5 seconds quicker nearly than Storm. That might be the time to beat.
Definitely it will. I mean, it's a pretty solid time. Probably he can get a bit lower than that, but I mean, I didn't expect this. I didn't expect him to finish the lap. Probably there's rain in the race or something, because if you go on softs on Germany, it's like committing suicide.
Well, put Frank there by my co-commentator. Passel's also on a set of softs, by the way, just going on a 1:12.9. Just catching on board with Atlas Coppo's lap. He was on a set of hard compound of tyres. Key as well, just in behind, 13.4, goes up to 7th. Atlas Coppo, respectively, goes 9th with his lap. Let's run on board then with one of our other championship contenders coming into tonight. It is Hades, and coming into tonight, 4th in the standings on 32 points. He had a bit of a nightmare, if I've got to be honest, in Britain, where he got caught up in that late bit of contact with a couple of other drivers. Surely Hades will put everything right here tonight in Germany. He's now coming through the Sachs curve, 52.3 through the middle sector. Still Mashiro calls the time to beat. We are halfway through qualifying. If you are just tuning in, it's James Head and Paco Suarez here taking you through the action, and Hades is predictably, whenever I go on board with somebody, we always get one that decides to come into the pit lane. But in the meantime, we go on board with Maximus, last week's race winner. He's on a set of soft compound of tyres as well. Surely, on a set of softs, he will go between Mashiro and Passel's.
Probably, yeah, he will. I mean, Passel's, he's not pretty good on quality. A bit more of pace, but yeah, definitely Maximus will get between them. But I mean, like, I'm totally surprised by the strategy that some drivers are going with. I mean, softest tire. I think there might be rain in the race, because if not, I don't understand this.
Well, we'll have to find out. Axnes, by the way, just going 6/10 behind Mashiro. Maximus is going to come right in between both of them, I think. Axnes and Passel, yeah, he jumps in with a 1:12.4. So about a second off the pace of Mashiro, but a nice lap nonetheless. Luckily, he didn't pick up an invalidation on his lap there, although he did on his down lap, essentially, out on track. And hopefully, we do get to see some good performances out on track, as I say. Jeffrey, interestingly, on a set of soft compound of tyres now. He was on a set of mediums, 13.3 his current best out on track, and the Red Bull man will hopefully be going towards the top end of the standings. He's only 500th of a second though up in the first sector, so surely all the time will be gained as he comes down towards the hairpin now. We're right on board then with the Dutchman, braking just after the 100-metre board. Got to get tight into the corner to try and maximise the run out, and that's perfect there from Jeffrey. Not even catching the outside curve there. Now coming through turn 7. Flat out through here, and then heavy down into the braking zone. Braking around the 50-metre board. Down into the braking zone of turn 8. The Mercedes-Benz Grandstand section. Now through 9, 10 and 11. And Jeffrey flying through the corners here. He's going to be going quicker than Maximus through the middle sector to 49.9. And he's 6/10 up through the middle sector. So currently he's going to be going 4th. But I think he could go in between Mashiro and Axnes with this lap if he could really nail these last couple of corners. Through Sachs curve, then into Sud curve. Now coming around the final couple of corners for Jeffrey. I think he is going to drop in, maybe just in behind. He has a little bit of an exit run out the final corner, and he just drops in behind Axnes. But apart from that, that was a very neat lap from him.
Yeah, definitely it was, but I think this is... and
Storm
gets
second.
Second. Yeah, with 1:11.7, still a bit far from Mashiro, but I think this is showing that Mashiro is just... Today is one step ahead. You know, last week it was his teammate Kiki who appeared to be fastest than anybody else, and today it might be Mashiro.
Just being told, by the way, in terms of the start of the race, heavy rain at the start of the race. So that is why we are seeing drivers go on a set of soft compound tyres. I think it could be exactly like last night's conditions, where we had a difference between the full wets and the inters, but judging by what I've seen in the comments, it's going to be dry towards the end of the race.
Then I think it's gonna be an exciting race. When you have mixed conditions, it's always a good sign, a good sign.
Oh, Daniil, by the way, just going second. Just noticed that 11.5 on a set of soft compound of tyres, 600 off on Mashiro. Not a bad lap that from Daniil. I'm on board though with Mays, who is on a qualifying lap here, coming around the final couple of corners, well, entering the final sector now. 50 flat through the middle sector, not too bad at all through the middle sector there from Mays, and now towards Sachs Curve at turn 13, looking to try and maximise the run out. Pariah's just gone second with a 111.5, so the Toro Rosso man up into second there, but still Mashiro the time to beat with a 111.4. Can Mays get any time close to this? He's around the final corner, he's going to be in and around Maximus and Passel sort of area, and he goes ahead of Maximus actually, a 112.3. Very neat lap there from the man who is pretty much in charge of every single league around here, and he goes 7th, and that'll fill him up with a lot of confidence because he's qualified ahead of last week's race winner Maximus so far.
Yeah, definitely. That will help. That will help a lot. And now who is finishing his lap is Harris, going through the last corner. And what time is he gonna set? 1:12.1. That puts him 6.
He can go quicker than that, I think. He's 9 thousandths ahead of Jeffrey. He could be in and around Storm Axnes sort of area, I think, if he does try to improve on another lap. I think we've got Pariah on a down lap. Apart from that, I don't think anybody is really on a lap here. Shouldn't be coming through...
Atlas.
Oh, Atlas couple.
Atlas has just started his lap, I think.
Yeah, he has. He's just on a set of soft compound of tyres running down towards turn 2. Remember, there are 2 DRS zones here at the Hockenheim ring. One about to come through Parabolica at turn 5, and then one on the start finish. Well, pretty much between turns 1 and 2 as well, out on track. So Atlas Copper will be hoping he can try and use that to great effect. Running down the straight, he didn't run any DRS there down the straight. Did you see that on the right hand side? Has he got DRS failure, I wonder?
I mean, for me, it's showing that he's using the DRS.
Oh, that might have just been my eyesight then. I was down into the braking zone mine where I caught this, that's probably why. Atlas Coppo coming through the middle sector, goodness me. He's only 7 thousandths up on a set of hard compound of tyres, but I think the final sector will be a lot quicker compared to what he was doing on his banker hard lap on 114 flat. And now Atlas Coppo comes round the final couple of corners. Not looking too bad here, the Alfa Romeo man, and in fact, he has, well, run out of VRS and he's down on his lap.
And that makes it's weird because he did have time to go into the pits, you know, go for new fresh tires, but it seems he didn't want to. I don't know if he's gonna try another lap or what, but it's pretty weird what he did.
I think, to be honest, he will try another lap. Oh, we see a spin in the background. That's sorry, not YWR, so that's Maximus on an out lap, who was spun through turn 12 before the Sachs curve. Saw that in the background now. Hopefully we've caught that on replay. I thought it was YWR Storm originally, but it was Maximus spinning in the background of shots. He's recovered the car, but he has got left side end plate damage. So that is the end of his qualifying. He loses the car again. Hardly controlling. Luckily, there's nobody in and around him out on track. But goodness me, what a moment for Maximus, and that is his qualifying over and done with.
Yeah, once again, not having that good luck, you know, on quali, and he will have to start at the back. And one question that I want to make you, don't you think that maybe some drivers are going for a drier setup than wets? Because that difference we're seeing between some drivers, maybe Hades and Pariah, you know, that generally they are pretty close, it's because of the setups. Maybe some are going for drier, thinking that the race will be mostly on dries, or some or others are going on wet setup because they think the wet is gonna be the dominant weather on the race.
This is exactly what me and Kieran were discussing about last night, and it was in terms of dry setups compared to wet setups. Anybody that decides to run a dry setup in qualifying poses themselves at a risk of not having the best setup within the race. if the conditions obviously improve, which we're under the impression they will towards the end of the race, they will only come alive towards the end of the race, and that is a big question. And I think in terms of the likes of probably downwards from Hades, Jeffrey, Axnes, I'm thinking they're running wet setups because we're a bit off the time, to be honest. I'm on board with Storm on a lap currently, and he looks like he's down on the time here. 111.7. Can he find anything through the middle sector? Can Storm? And no, he's 3/10 down nearly, so I don't think he's going to improve on this lap. We've got Key, by the way, going up into 4th position. Mashiro is behind Storm out on track, so we'll ride on board with him in just a quick second or so as Storm comes towards the end of his lap. He is going to try and really find this. No, he comes into the pit, so Storm ends his lap there. Mashiro is coming around the final couple of corners. Don't think he's looking like he's going to improve. 111.4 is current best coming across the line. He's just improved by 200th of a second. Pariah though is a 10th up and behind.
And he's going faster. He's going faster.
Oh, he has. 111.3. He takes it from Mashiro. Daniil up 400th in the first sector. Key off a lap. Jeffrey goes 6th with a 111.7. Nice lap from him. Hades up 4.5 tenths through the middle sector. Could really land himself in here with a blow. Could it be a Toro Rosso front row of the grid, I wonder? Hades coming through the final couple of corners now towards the line. Can he go quicker than Mashiro and make it a top 2? He does in his third with a 111.5. Daniil's the only one that can really come alive here. And he's down in the middle sector. Can the Ferrari man come around the final corners and find the time? Into 111.5. He's got to find 1.5 tenths of a second through the final corner. I think he's going to run short. He has, and he's 700ths down on this lap. And it's Pariah who takes qualifying, who takes pole position here tonight from Mashiro in second and Hades in third. Well, this could be quite interesting between these three.
And not only these three, I think Daniel, Kiki, Storm are going to be involved massively, you know, in this fight. And Toro Rosso has now an advantage over McLaren, and if they know how to manage the race today, they could be on the best position to try and reduce the gap with the McLaren boys.
I think honestly it is going to be a fascinating race, and as you say, I think in terms of qualifying we have really seen everything come alive there. It is Pariah who has taken, it's literally the Pied Pariah out on track, and he takes pole position here in TTL F1. There is the rundown then of the grid. Top 9 separated by 8.5 tenths of a second. Pariah on top from Mashiro in second. Hades in third. Daniil in 4th, separated by less than 2 tenths of a second from Key in 5th. Storm in 6th. Jeffrey in 7th. The front 7 are separated by just over 4 tenths of a second. Axnes in 8th. Mays in 9th. Good qualifying from him ahead of Maximus. He did improve on that lap as well, did Mays. Maximus in 10th. Parcells 11th. Tom in 12th. Atlas Copo in 13th. YWR Storm struggled his way around there in qualifying in 14th. And Schumi not getting a lap time there for the Ferrari team in 15th position. Well, that was an interesting qualifying session. Let's have a look then at the track again. 17 corners awaiting the drivers, and it is exactly the same conditions as what we were starting off with in TTL F1 League 1 last night. Full wet conditions. Talking about the track then, 17 corners away at the drivers, 34 laps in total. How do you see this race panning out, especially with it being so wet? And where do you think the pinpoints are out on track where we could see any potential overtaking or any potential battles out on track?
Well, I think the second straight is a really good place to try an overtake, but probably drivers will wait for that long sort of parabolica, you know, before the hairpin. So probably those are the most probable places to try and overtake, but also they have to watch out. I mean, we saw it. I mean, the game is not the same as the real life, you know, but in these conditions it's really tricky, and drivers will have to watch out to not go into the grass or to not lose the car. So I think we're gonna see a really good race, not only because drivers seem to be pretty close because I think also it's gonna be the rain factor. You know, it's gonna give us interesting racing today.
It will give us interesting racing, and I think that the point that I made, certainly in TTL F1, you normally get drivers that are quick in qualifying and a dry qualifying session, but then totally lose it within the race. And it's exactly summed up last night by Lighty, who was, I think, second or third within qualifying, then totally went away in the opening couple of laps in Hockenheim last night in TTL F1. Drivers have got to be careful in these wet conditions. They shouldn't treat these conditions lightly.
No, definitely they don't. I mean, I've seen many races under the rain, you know, and definitely when a driver gets overconfident, you know, and think that they got this, definitely they don't. They just, what they intend just goes the other way around.
I think, honestly, in terms of the championship standings, we've got a right treat here. Mashiro obviously in second position on 37 points. Pariah on top. He is down in 8th position, well, tied for 7th with Daniil on 19 points, so he could really use this qualifying session well and this race well. Hopefully he can get the break early on. But final your top 3 coming into tonight for this wet race in Hockenheim.
I thought I was going to get away, but it seems like I don't, so I'm gonna go. I think Kiki knows to handle this situation. I think he's gonna win the race. I think Pyraya is gonna get second and Storm is gonna be third. Interesting.
I'm gonna put Mashiro on top. I think he'll come alive in the wet conditions. I'm gonna go Hades second, Storm in third. There you go, you've heard it here first. The correct prediction for TTL F1 League 2 tonight. Pray. 5 red lights then about to go out here in Hockenheim for TTL F1 League 2 round 4. It's light down, away we go. Pariah gets a very good start. Mashiro as well, jumping up the start well. Daniil going to be boxed in. Key down towards turn 1. A little bit of contact actually between the two Reynolds. Passelt and Mays. Passelt running into the back there of Mays in the background of shot. We caught that just in the background, but Pariah leads the way down towards turn 2 for the first time, and it's very difficult. The spray kicking off these cars out on track. There's been a little bit of contact in behind. I think Storm has contacted with Mays there. Storm up the inside line of Mays having a little bit of contact. So Mays not having the best start to this race early on. Mashiro though is right on the back of Pariah down to the turn 6 hairpin, and he's surely not going to go down the inside here. He thinks about it. He has a half look. He's got the car just about ahead through the hairpin. Can Mashiro get the traction off the corner? It's side by side then, running down towards turn 7, and I think Mashiro was just about going to have this one. The Japanese man and the Norwegian. Oh, Pariah's out. Pariah has somehow, how on earth he recovered that? Right hand side end plate damage, but Pariah has somehow kept it out of the race, and Daniil and Storm is round as well. There's all sorts of action happening here tonight. Mashiro though leads the way by 1.4 seconds. Hades in second, Key in third. Everyone coming through in the top 6 relatively unscathed. Jeffrey in 5th and Access in 6th, battling out down through the Sachs curve, and they're still side by side actually, these two coming through the Sachs curve and out through 16, coming through sub curve into 16. Jeffrey and Axnes 5th and 6th. Pariah in 7th, Shumi in 8th, but at the end of lap 1 it's Mashiro who leads, Hades second and Key in third. Being at the front necessarily in that race, in this race so far, has really proved out to be, and there's been quite a bit of contact early on, but Mashiro leads by 2.1 seconds.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he had a good first lap, you know. He defended really well that first spot, and it seems like he went for a wet setup, so at the moment it's working quite well, and now Kiki is trying to move on. He's going, yeah, he's going down the inside, I think.
Yeah, keep down the inside line on Hades, down towards the hairpin here. Can he get the move done? He's got the inside line, he's got the move done easily, even out of the corner. I knew that one was going to work out, and Key is up into second position. Maximus and Shumi, interestingly, are on a set of wet compounder tyres. They go through the wettest part of the track, really, through the hairpin, and Maximus and Shumi did very well not to make any contact there. Maximus through up to 7th. Key and Hades are having a right battle here for 2nd and 3rd. What's happening?
Kiki just went into the grass, you know, and he almost loses the car, and Hades took the opportunity, you know, and went for...
Key having a bit of a moment there out of turn 12 as well. But interestingly, Pariah and Parcells have decided to go on a similar strategy to what the guys did last night in TTL F1 League 1 and go for a set of intermediate compound of tyres. The delta time was 2 seconds quicker from the inters compared to the wets last night. Currently, they're not closing in on the set of wet, so I don't think it is intermediate conditions yet. Maybe in a couple of laps' time, it might just be. Key on the back of Hades. This is for second and third position out on track. And Hades seems like he's really struggling out on track. Mashiro was really excelled on the wet. And Key has got a phenomenal run through turn 4. Now through the parabolic with turn 5. Remember, this is old school Formula 1. No DRS here. Oh, they make contact and Hades contacts the Key. I'm not really sure what he was thinking there, to be honest. Side-by-side contact down the straight, never going to work in the wet. Jeffrey and Axes in the meantime having a clean battle, and Axes I think has got the inside line. He's got the move done on Jeffrey, so Axes through up the 4th. But Hades, not really sure what he was thinking there, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was a bold move, you know. He just didn't respect the gap, and he just pushed Hades off the track. And I have to say, did someone pay any other drivers to get the Toro Rosso out of the way? Because both of them are having a terrible race today.
Yeah, they are taking, I think, their dry braking points, I should say, rather than the wet braking points, and I think that's why we've seen so many drivers struggling. We've just caught on board there with Shumi actually running a little bit too deep. We didn't catch it on the stream physically, but now Atlas Coco has gone through and he's up to 8th. Let's have a look then in the position changes. And there's quite a few position changes, that's all I'm going to say. Is Hades is into the pits then. Maximus, I think, was up the inside line of him there. Hades into the pits successfully. But Mashiro leads. Looking at the position gains, Shumi up 7, Alice Kobo up 6, and these two right on the back of each other. Sorry, Mates is on the back of Shumi, I do apologise.
Yeah, pretty close. And I'm watching. Oh, Hades also goes for the intermediates. I mean, I've been watching Pariah over the last few laps, and he hasn't really caught, but he's not losing that much time. So I think drivers will be cautious when switching into intermediates. So when the crossover.
Maze going down the inside of Shumi, down into the hairpin. Can Maze get the move done? He can. Down the inside line, he forces the car onto the outside line. Perfect move there from Maze. He's through up into 8th position. Is Shumi going to try and come back at him though? Through the Mercedes-Benz section. He doesn't, and Storm has lost a good recovery there by Storm, doing a bit of lawn mowing there. But Shumi just had a little bit of slowness coming out of the corner. He's got left side end plate damage as Shumi, I do believe, or right side end plate damage actually. Storm just losing it, but somehow kept it out of the wall. But that means Maze is up to 8th position. That was a good move. Sorry, what were you saying before we caught on board with Maze's move?
Just saying that actually intermediate drivers, it's quite interesting strategy, because they just have to hold on, you know, and wait till the track is perfect for the crossover, because there's two things that can happen as we see Shumi and Storm pitting. Basically, it can happen that the track starts to get drier, you know, and wet drivers decide to stay on track until it's dry. Completely dry, so intermediates could have a run on these drivers, or we can see wets starting to pit, you know, and maybe Pariah and Hades can try an undercut on these drivers. But as I say, at the moment they are not gaining time, so they will have to wait some laps until the crossover point gets to the race, you know.
Daniil's gone in very much deep there in towards turn 8. Axel is having a little bit of trouble there as well. Mashiro excelling in these wet conditions currently. He is 6.3 seconds up the road, and McLaren currently in a 1-2 with Key now in second, Daniil in third, Axel in fourth. But just to come on to your point actually about the intermediate conditions, Hades, interestingly, and Pariah, I think have both undercut Shumi out on track, and I think that was as a result of Shumi having a bit of front wing damage. Mashiro into the pits from the lead of the race, and the rain is stopping, or starting to stop out on track. So Inter's definitely going to be the plan now, because I think everyone's starting to pit in.
Yeah, everyone is starting to pit, but it's quite interesting, because we could see Hades was catching up but the rest of the drivers, like Paraya, was not catching up. Quite,
Tom's had a moment. Tom's just had a moment through curve. Apologies. Go on.
No problem. I mean, so it's actually quite interesting. Maybe drivers were feeling that the wets were no longer the right tire, but we can see Harris setting the fastest lap. So in the end, this is an indicator that the track was for intermediates.
Two laps fresher tyres as well on his teammate Paraya, and he's gained 0.6 of a second on his teammate through that final lap there. So that was through lap 5, and on to lap 6 obviously here. Key leading the way then from Mashiva wins second. The biggest indicator though to tell if it's intermediate is Storm trying to get past Shumi in the meantime. Storm on the inside line of Shumi, getting the move done. I think Shumi wants to try the switch back. He's never going to pull that one off, I'm afraid. And Atlas Copo just having a bit of a moment in front of him. So Storm coming on the back then of Atlas Copo, but a good move there by Storm. He's through and he's up into 10th position. Mashivo, by the way, the point I was going to make, the biggest indicator would be, is it intermediate or is it wet out on track? And judging by the time that both Daniil and Mashivo have gained on Maze and Key on a set of wet compound of tyres, both of them drivers, they have gained threefold from this lap to the next lap. And Maze, was that Maze round? It is, it's Maze round through the final couple of corners of turn 16. He recovers the car, but yeah, you can tell now it's intermediate because Key is back out on track, and it's side by, oh, I thought it was nearly side by side, as Key is rejoined just in front of Daniil. Oh, and Daniil has to take a board in action there. Access up is inside. They're going to be side by side through turn 4. Daniil and Access, goodness me, how have they kept that on track? Brilliant racing, it's still side by side through the Parabolica. Hopefully we can keep it clean with these two. Access and Daniil, they're not giving any room for each other. Alfa Romeo against Ferrari here, running down towards the hairpin. Daniil has outbroken himself surely into the corner. Access on the inside line, but Daniil, how has he got that stopped? Brilliant move by Daniil, he's up to third, and Hades has gone through and Paraya as well. Brilliant move.
Probably. Yeah, definitely. I mean, Daniil was really clever, you know, he had a brilliant exit, he was able to hold on amazingly, and he ascended around the outside, and he was able to keep the car on track. I mean, amazing stuff.
I honestly couldn't understand. I thought he had totally messed that corner up. I thought he was going too wide, Access was going to get down the inside, but he hasn't. So Daniil is through, and he's up to third. Position change further down the field as well. Maximus is through, and he's up into 10th position ahead of Shumi. Lap fresher tyres coming into play there for Maximus. He's now beginning to close in on Storm. In the meantime, though, Axnes not giving up on the back of Daniil. It's 5.5 tenths as they come across the line, now 6 tenths as they come across the line. And just round on board actually with the other Alfa Romeo, Storm is already on the back of Atlas Coppo after disposing of Shumi a couple of laps ago. Storm looks like he's going to be the chief gainer out of this mid-pack field. Everyone's still going remarkably out on track as well, but Storm seems to me as if he's got the confidence to come through the field and fight for positions.
Yeah, definitely, I agree totally. I think that the Storm target could perfectly be at the moment P6, but who knows, maybe with the dry conditions incoming, he could actually try
look at the speed.
goal.
Look at the speed of him, he's going to go waltzing past Atlas Coppo down towards the hairpin. He brakes slightly earlier, but I think he's going to get the move done nonetheless. Forces Atlas Coppo out a little bit wide. That is how you play your cards right there. Storm is through and he's up to 8th. Maybe the, well, not the easiest move you'll see all night, because Storm broke a little bit earlier for the corner. He picked out his braking point though, he got the move done, and Storm is making tremendous progress through the field. Honestly, don't rule him out of a top 5.
Yeah, I mean, perfectly, he could do it, maybe with the dry conditions incoming, he could actually make a bold strategy, you know, and try to go for that top 5. And I have to say that today's Storm is getting rid of his mid-name, you know, Adrian Conservative Storm, you know, who said he was conservative, you know, that he didn't want to try and risk it. Well, he's going for the top 5, I think.
So far so good from Storm out on track. Jeffrey in the meantime is on the back of Axnes, and he's another one that tends to excel in these intermediate conditions out on track. He's 6/10 off Axnes at this stage, coming through Parabolica through turn 5. We are just tuning in to TTTV here tonight. It is myself, James Hale, and Paco Suarez taking you through the action, and Jeffrey is completely locked up there, nearly into the back of Axnes. Goodness me, that is not what you want to try and run on board with, but goodness me, how we got that car stopped is beyond me. The Red Bull man is right on the back of Axnes still, and God almighty, I think he nearly shit himself out on track.
Definitely, because when you see a driver coming like that, you know, behind, you start to get worried and maybe thinking, oh no, he's not gonna stop it. But in this case, Jeffrey, amazingly, he was able to lock up the tires enough to don't hit the car head. And it seems like Axne is struggling because Jeffrey is catching up pretty quick, and he might have a run on the Alfa Romeo driver.
I've got to be honest, I think Jeffrey is quicker out of the guys ahead of him. So Daniil and Axnes ahead of him. I think Jeffrey is the quicker out of these three guys at this stage in the race. On to lap 10 we go. Machivo leads, Key in second, Daniil in third. Axnes now in fourth, with Jeffrey in fifth. Hades in sixth, Pariah in seventh, and Hades has actually disposed of Pariah quite a bit indeed to the two Toro Rosso 6th and 7th. Storm in 8th there, with Atlas Coppo in 9th. Has he got... I thought he had from wing damage. That's just my eyesight. Maximus in 10th. Shumi in 11th. Passel's in 12th. Mays, after that start, a little bit disappointing now, down in 13th. Just got caught up in two bits of contact. One with his teammate Passel, who just completely, I think, ran into the back of him. Wasn't expecting him to brake so early for turn 1. And then got caught up in that contact with Tom. He's down in 13th position. Tom in 14th, respectively. And YWR Storm in 15th as well. Looking at the chief gainers, though, there's quite a few guys that have made positions out on track. Daniil, though, beginning to pull away from Axnes for third position, and I think he's now getting the confidence within him to try and close in on Key. It's about 4 seconds the gap, I think, currently out on track. But Daniil is certainly beginning to come alive, I think, especially in that middle sector.
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree, and I have to add that I think we've talked about Storm, we've talked about the Toro Rosso teammates, but we haven't talked about Maximus. I think he was involved in the incidents in the first lap, and he's currently on the position he started, but he's closing up to the guys near the top 5. So, well, yeah, the guys near the top 5, so we might see Maximus ending also in a high position.
Yeah, Maximus, actually, good point there. I didn't realise that. Maximus up into 10th position. I think he's undercut the likes of Shumi, certainly, out on track. He's up to 10th, and he had that early contact, and he's now beginning to power his way through the field. He's another one that can tend to do well, that does tend to do well in the intermediate conditions. But Storm's next target has been acquired. It is Pariah ahead. Pariah currently in 7th in the standings. Storm ahead of him in the standings currently. And in terms of the championship standings coming into tonight, Pariah on 19 points. Storm on 43 points. Currently, as things are standing out on track, ooh, I have a feeling, Maximus. What have you seen? Maximus is round. Have we just commentators cursed him, I wonder there?
Yeah, I mean, it's our great power, you know, a great power, great responsibility.
Oh, and now Hades is round. Hades just having a moment there through Sachs curve at turn 13, getting caught on the inside curve, I think. So he's lost the position. Or has he lost the position?
No, he has to Storm. Yeah, he was
ahead of Storm, yeah.
And now side by side with
Atlas
the Alfa Romeo. Will he back off?
No way down the inside of turn 1. This is not going to work, and he backs off just about Atlas Coppo. I think that's the fairest thing to do. You don't want to be going through side by side through turn 1, but goodness me, he nearly tried it. Atlas Coppo on the back of Hades, 0.3 of a second, but now Atlas beginning to struggle. I wonder, actually, out on track, these Inters are beginning maybe to show the first signs of degradation out on track. Are we not too far away, I wonder, from this track actually turning dry and then going on to set a dry compound of tyres around the halfway stage? I think we're nearing that point now.
it's actually a good. I actually agree with what you've said, and I think it's gonna be the driver that drive the most with those intermediates who's gonna take the lead. I mean, Mashiro could actually go to the pits, you know, and go for new inters. He has the gap, and probably his teammate would let him by, or not, but probably he will. So
Maximus is round again. Maximus round again through turn 11.
And I think he's struggling with maybe the setup or something not going well, but definitely he's struggling a lot. And yeah, Mashiro could actually go for another intermediates, but the guys behind, well, Kiki could try and stay until the track is ready for dry tires, but the guys ahead, I think it's gonna be interesting, because maybe we could see a Storm or the Torbosa guys, you know, trying to outlast the other drivers. But quite a good statement, the one you said there.
The problem with Mashiro, though, if he pits in for a set of inters, I think he will be held up in a little bit of traffic. Storm, in the meantime, he's now back to his normal self. He's back to cautious Storm out on track. He wasn't going to go for the move. He had the run on Pariah. I think it would have been side by side down towards the hairpin if he tried to commit that. But not feeling like... He looks like, I've got to be honest, he looks like he's running all over the back of Pariah at this stage. And it's just a matter of time when he gets past. And he's got 3-lap pressure inters as well. And he's really on the back of Pariah. I'm just going to cut on board, though, because Maximus and Tom are side by side down the straight. Maximus just about stopping that car, but the Welshman trying to get through. The move done. Pumpkin Man, can he pull it off? Maximus on the back, just leading Pumpkin Man going the outside track. Tom trying to look down the inside line, not quite good enough. But it's good to see Pumpkin Man's making another appearance out on track. After coining this phrase in Abu Dhabi last season.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. And I just want to say that actually the pit window, like the gap, you know, that you would lose is about 16 seconds. Kiki was ahead, you know, when he was on the wet tires, and when he pitted for intermediates, he had a gap to Daniel of around 16 seconds. So Mashiro would just be ahead of Daniel, so he could actually go into the pits.
Yeah, looking at the gap, actually, it's 16.2 between Mashiro and Daniil, so I think he's just going to be out ahead if he does decide to come into the pits. Probably just ahead of Daniil, as you say, but 16.2 seconds, these times will probably change during the course of tonight. And is it me, or is that rain beginning to look a little bit lighter out on track? And I've got to be honest, I think the track's beginning to dry, actually, out on track.
I mean, there's still way to get dry. I mean, we can see that there is a clear line, a clear dry line forming up. But I think there's still some laps to go until we see dry conditions.
Yeah, honestly, if anybody is listening and wants to go on a dry compound of tyres, don't. I think that's what we're trying to say there. I don't want to misinform anyone about it being dry compound. You can listen to Jeff yourselves out on track. This is why I'm in the commentary box after all. Storm still on the back of Pariah for 6th and 7th position, and the Racing Point man looking a little bit quicker, looking actually a little bit slower through turn 1 there, but in terms he's still running all over the back of Storm. In the meantime, though, a more interesting battle just forming up in behind. Atlas Coppa right on the back of Hades, the two Norwegians for OWR, about to do battle here down the straight. Can Atlas Coppa get the run? And I think the answer after that shoddy turn 4 is no.
Definitely it's not. I mean, he is maybe with DRS enabled, you know, he could try. Let's see, yellow flags. He's
Tom at turn 1.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think he lost it, probably.
He's probably trying to take a flat out through there, I think.
Yeah, and it's not a good
Rain
thing
stopped.
To do, definitely.
Rain stopped that on track, it has.
Well, guys, go with pit for soft tires.
Don't
do
it yet. Don't do it yet. Couple of more laps, I think. Maybe lap 18, lap 19, I'm thinking, for softs here. Goodness me, you don't want to be getting into a full sense of hope. Don't trust the commentators, trust Jeff. There you go.
I mean, I think we're like Jeff. I mean, we're like the Jeff, but in the commentator box. So probably they shouldn't listen to us. Lesson that we've learned today, don't listen to the commentators, right? And one thing that I want to point out is that the gap between Mashiro and the guys behind is getting bigger and bigger. I mean, Mashiro today, definitely he's learned from previous races, and I think today he has his mind set on winning.
Shimmy into the pits. Is this going to be for a set of dry tyres? It is. That's looking like a set of hard compounded tyres, I think, for Shumi. It is. He goes under a set of hards. There is spray coming on the track, for goodness sake. And Atlas Copel just having a bit of a mum there out of turn 4. But here comes Storm on the back of Pariah. This is the time to get the move done for Storm. But he's back to his cautious self. And he's not going to get the move done. Or is he going to switch it back? Pariah's ran deep. Storm will switch it back. He's got the traction. What at that? What? Look at that for a move. Storm gets the move done. Beautifully poised and gets the move done. And Maze is out through turn 1. But Storm gets the move done. He's up to 6th. What a move.
And sorry for laughing, but...
Oh, has he gone under a set of hards and he's spun out the pits? I think that's what's happened
yeah,
there.
Yeah, it's
oh,
what
dear.
I mean. Oh, and it's what I... Oh, and probably, I don't know if it was... Well, yeah, probably it was a mistake he did, but...
Yeah.
Here is the answer. Yeah, and definitely Shumi's spinning around. Here is the answer.
Sorry, Atlas Copel's going down the inside of Hades. This is down into Zach's curve. Goodness me, he's trying to get this move done. An impossible place to overtake. God almighty, he nearly did it at one point, but both of them are now coming into the pit. Set of mediums actually for Access and Jeffrey. I think it's still another lap. Mashiro and Key have gambled for another lap. I think they're right. They are indeed, I think, right, because the track is still going to have a little bit of wetness on the track. And this now puts in a question. These guys, I think, Mashiro, Key and Daniil, to be honest, I'm going to put it out there now. I think you're looking at a top 3 right here between these 3.
Maybe it could be. Like, now they're gonna gain probably a lot of time during this lap, but I have to say it was quite weird because we could see hard drivers, you know, spinning around or crashing into the wall like Maeve did, and it seems like one lap later the conditions are just perfect for these tires to go on.
But we're right on board then with our current leader of the race, Mashiro, coming into the pits. The papaya coloured car into the pit lane. There's a yellow flag in sector 1. It is Storm, I think. YWR Storm, who was spun through turn 1. And that's on a set of medium compound of tyres. Mashiro goes under a set of medium compound of tyres. And he's going to take it quite easily out of the pit lane. And that, I think, just in behind is Tom, sorry. I thought that was YWR Storm again, but it's not. It's Tom, who was just out in behind. Key then coming out the pit lane in 2nd. And Daniil will be coming out the pit lane in 3rd. Just about, I think, as Axnes has gone through on
That DRS is gonna help a lot, I think.
Yeah, YWR Storm. Sorry, Maximus is the one that's ahead of Mashiro. Just to clarify on that, Maximus is the one ahead of Mashiro, but Axnes is all over the back of Daniil already.
That DRS that he got just before the main straight helped him a lot to try and catch Daniel, and he's going down the inside through the hairpin. Wait, he's being cautious there.
Oh, a little bit contact. Daniil though hangs on to the position. I think Axnes, to be honest, just locked up slightly. I think Maximus has spun it through turn 12 into 13. This is going to be so. Maximus having a bit of a moment there, but Axnes on the back of Daniil. This is for P3 out on track. Goodness me, I don't know where, honestly, this has came from. Axnes looked like he was about 2 seconds behind coming out the pit lane. Daniil has managed to just pit out ahead, and now the fresher tyres beginning to come into play. Maximus has just a spun there, I think, on the inside of the apex. Yeah, YWR Storm has now gone through, so Maximus not going to plan there for him out on track. What this has done, though, the top 3 have remained as they are within the pit stops, but interestingly, Pariah now ahead of TG Storm.
Well, I mean, I think he was ahead before the pit stop. I think he was. But yeah, definitely. I mean, now it's interesting because, well, we can see that from Pariah to 10th, they're way behind the podium guys. But Jeffrey and Axnes have been able with that lap, you know, that gap that they had in one lap that they could reduce. Probably it has helped them to actually try and catch Daniel.
Yeah, honestly, I think I'll agree on that, to be honest. Axnes on the back of Daniil. Third and fourth out on track. Jeffrey in fifth. He has dropped a little bit off the pace, but he's beginning to start to come into it. And Jeffrey has been a bit of a slow burner. It's like one of those wax melts that you get from Yankee Candles here in the UK. You put it on, it slow burns for a little bit. Jeffrey is beginning to come alive now out on track, is what I'm trying to say. And I think, honestly, he is closing in on Axnes at a rate of knots. Where on earth has he got this pace from? Jeffrey, he's just getting 0.8 of a second out of nothing on Axnes.
Probably the difference in the setup.
ERS, I'm thinking, actually. Just looking at ERS, 18% for Jeffrey, and Axnes on 60%. So I think he's been saving up a bit of his ERS there, to be honest. Hades in the meantime on the back of Atlas Coppo, Torosso and the Alfa Romeo side by side, and Hades going to run down to the longer straight, I think, to try and get the move done here. I think he might have tried to have his chance there to try and get the move done, but now Hades in the slipstream. I think you can see where this is going. You can see where this is going. I don't think we even need to commentate over this. Hades has just absolutely bolted past Atlas Coppo. It's like he's just came onto track for the first lap of the race. Hades is through and he's up to P8. Beautiful move.
Yeah, definitely a really good move. And now, I mean, Atlas just saw it. I mean, he just was a witness. He couldn't defend from it. He just saw like Hades overtook him down the inside. Well, not even that. It was in the middle of the parabolica, if you can call it like that, you know. Yeah, amazing straight line speed by the Toro Rosso.
It is very quick. Oh, interesting to see Pariah just has a moment through some curve. Storm trying to go down the inside line. Goodness me, he just has to hang on to this one. But Pariah had a right moment there coming through the final corner. He's beginning to struggle, and Storm is going to pick this opportunity up like the scruff of the neck, and Storm is through and he's up into P6. Pariah's mistake, very costly indeed. I'm sure that one will go back on the replay cams, but might not yet, because Pariah is fighting back on Storm. It's side by side, the Toro Rosso and the Racing Point running down the straight. Pariah has got the straight line speed. Storm will try and tuck back into the slipstream. Can the Racing Point get the traction around the outside? He can't. Pariah is back through and he's up to 6th position. That is what happens when you fall back behind the driver. Then there's a long straight and Pariah has got back past Storm. So they swap positions within a couple of corners, and they're both, well, they've lost and gained 6th position.
Yeah, and I have to say that racecraft here is really important, and I think Storm should have seen it, and he should have stayed behind Pariah, because he let Pariah have the DRS, and definitely it was an easy move for Pariah. Probably Storm will have another chance to try and come back at the Toro Rosso driver, but surprisingly Hades has opened a big gap to Atlas, and now he's going and trying to get both guys, Hades, Storm and Pariah.
Daniil, I think, just picking up a second 3-second time penalty of the night there. Axnes is on the back of him, running down the straight. Not quite close enough for the move, and Axnes, I think, doing the right thing there not to get the move done. And these two actually have now pulled away from Jeffrey. 4.5 seconds now the gap between Axnes and Jeffrey out on track. And I just wonder, actually, has Jeffrey made some sort of mistake out on track? Storm, in the meantime, giving a bit of a bump to Pariah coming through the hairpin. Pariah perfectly placing the car on the inside of the apex there, and he still holds on into P6. But I think Jeffrey has made some sort of mistake out on track.
Well, that, or as you said before, it could be DRS, the ERS.
Yeah.
He has been doing a poor management, and probably he's now noticing the consequences.
Yeah, Storm on the back of Pariah, 0.5 of a second, clearly getting the quicker run through Sachs curve there, now into sub curve at turn 16. Mashiro has dominated out in front. If you are just tuning in for your motorsporting fix on this fine Friday evening, Pariah sets the new fastest lap of the race. It is Mashiro who has really dominated. I mean, he was 6 seconds ahead coming through onto lap 3, I think. That's how dominant he has been here out on track. And he's 15.5 seconds clear of Key. Daniil now in third has pulled away from Axnes in fourth. Jeffrey in fifth. Pariah sixth. Storm in seventh. He is just lost a little bit of time here on Pariah running down the straight. He's not going to be close enough to get the move done. Hades in 8th, Atlas Corpo in 9th, Passels in 10th, Shumi in 11th, Tom in 12th, and Storm in YWR Storm in 13th position. Most positions gained tied between Axnes, Atlas Corpo and Shumi, and a majority of the field have gained positions out on track, apart from Pariah, Storm, Hades and Tom. Everyone else has.
Yeah, and I want to point out that something with my English. And it's probably that Axnes might not want to compete with Daniel. I mean, try the overtake, because Daniel has 9 seconds of penalties, and that could. Axnes, I think he only has 1 penalty, as Jeffrey has no penalties. So that could be a big chance to try and gain the position by penalties.
Or Storm has turned up the wick here. He's right on the back of Pariah, who picks up a 3-second tumble. Both of them making slight mistakes there through turn 1. A little bit late on the brakes there from Storm, but he's right on the back of Pariah. This is going to get interesting very quick indeed. Storm on the back of Pariah. Is he going to be the Pied Pariah out on track? But Storm down on the inside line now is going to take the position for him. He's side by side running down towards the hairpin. Ooh. He breaks earlier for the corner. Pariah around the outside is trying to get the traction. Not going to pull that one off. It's exactly what Storm did on a set of inters, but Pariah is not done with yet. He's right on the back. He got the run out of the hairpin, and now Pariah down the inside of turn 8. Oh, they lean on each other slightly. Goodness me, how on earth they didn't make contact there. It's credit to both of them, but Storm stays in front of Pariah, and now that just gives Storm a little bit of breathing room to try and get away.
Yeah, and I have to point out about penalties in these positions that Stormer has 6 seconds of penalty, while Pariah has no penalty. So I think Pariah should be clever, you know, and try and catch Jeffrey, because if they keep fighting, probably that chances of P5, they are totally gone.
Chances of P5 will be going out the window. I definitely think that. We'll have a penalties run down probably in the last 3 laps of the race or so. Pariah, in the meantime, on the back of Storm. Jeffrey losing the time to Axnes, and Axnes losing the time to Mashiro out on track currently. 15.9 seconds is the gap for the lead. Storm, though, is a sitting duck down in towards the hairpin, because here comes Pariah, absolutely sailing on by. Has he got the car stopped? Storm on the switchback, trying to get the traction. It's side by side now, through into turn 7, and Pariah just floors it out of the apex, and he's got the move done. So Pariah back into P6. I really think we're going to see a great battle between these two, and the racecraft so far has been clean as a whistle.
Yeah, definitely, and I have to say that definitely Mashiro being driver of the day today. I mean, what can I say? Clean driving. Oh, and Storm made a mistake. Yeah, but he has kept it clean, you know. Perfect race. Pole. First, almost the whole race.
Fastest lap.
Yeah, fastest lap. Perfect driving from the McLaren driver. Yeah.
He's on for the Grand Slam currently, of course. Pole, fastest lap and the win. That is considered as the Grand Slam and the hat-trick within league racing here. Storm is on the back of Pariah. 2 attempts up through the first sector, and you know what, this is coming. He's going to go around the outside line, though. This is going to be unfavourable, I think, for Storm. He has got the move done, but is Pariah going to get him on the brakes? Storm has actually run out to the marble, similar to what we saw with Jamie Chadwick in W Series, but Storm has got the move done. And he's just about ahead, but Pariah's not going to give this one up without a fight, and it is literally like W Series all over again. It's Pariah. It's not around the outside of turn 8. Surely not. How on earth has he got this done? Pariah gets the move done. That is the move of the race right there, and they're still not done with, because Storm is right on the back, but look who is catching threefold in behind. Hades is beginning to get involved, and Storm could land himself in a bit of a tricky situation. Are we going to see a repeat of Britain from last week? Because these guys made contact out on track. On Pariah, oh my God, nearly loses control. But are we going to see the contact out on track? Because Hades is closing in on Storm, and these two made contact last week in Britain.
I mean, situation is getting interesting. I think this is not gonna end well. But honestly, I think this is the difference between an aggressive driver and a cautious driver. I mean, Storm is braking really early, and Piraya is taking every chance that Storm is giving him, you know, and probably now Storm will go for the move, but as we know, he's gonna brake a bit earlier than
No, he's broken later than Pariah actually on that occasion, trying to go around the outside, but Pariah, they make contact. Storm, though, kept it within the white lines and got the move done. A little bit of banging wheels, but nothing more, nothing less. And Pariah is going to get the inside line now down towards turn 8. It's still pretty much side by side between these two. It's almost as if they're being glued together out on track. Storm back through and somehow maintains the position to Pariah. But Hades is gaining, and he's gaining hard on these two.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is giving us at least the emotion we're not having in the front. But I think it's great battling, you know. I mean, Storm just shot my mouth, you know, defending that move and braking late on the brake. But I think we're going to see this battle going until the end of the race. I hope it doesn't end in tears. That could possibly end like that, but at the moment, really good racing.
I think honestly Storm has got to try and outsmart these two, because Hades is gaining. He's just within DRS range I think on Pariah, but Pariah is within easily DRS range on Storm. But look at the straight line speed. The straight line speed of Pariah is just totally gone, and now Storm around on the outside line could get him on the brakes, down into the hairpin. Bit of a shoddy camera angle this, but still side by side, and they keep it clean as a whistle through there. That was brilliant racing, and Pariah was just about got the car ahead, but Storm onto the inside line will be side by side. He's later on the brakes. Can Storm get the move done? This is phenomenal racing out on track between these two. Hades is wetting his lips at this stage, but Storm and Pariah, once again, side-by-side action. The racecraft between these two has been utterly phenomenal, and as soon as I say that, Pariah's made a mistake, and somehow he's off at Zach's curve, but how on earth has he recovered that out the wall?
Yeah, definitely.
Wow.
Good save from the Terroroso driver. Now he'll have to gain back that time he lost. Still, he has a chance, because I think Hades will be able to catch Storm as we see Tom retiring. And I was going to say, you know, do you know the song Who Can It Be Now, right?
I don't.
Oh, you don't? Well, there is a famous lyric inside the song that says, who can it be knocking on my door, you know? And Hades was doing exactly the same thing, and Pariah opened it by losing the car, and now he's going to attack Storm. So great comeback from Hades. I think he is gonna have a difficult challenge, but we can see he's almost on the DRS range, so really good stuff from Hades.
Yeah, Hades beginning to close in on Storm, now releasing to clear air. He was a lot quicker, I've got to say, through the Mercedes-Benz section, through turn 8, now through turn 10 into 11, and he's 1.2 seconds in behind on Storm, and he's just lost the time there through those couple of corners. But Storm beginning to hold on out on track. I honestly think this might be the perfect time in the race to have a bit of a penalties rundown. I think there's nothing really much going on.
Yeah.
So we'll do the top 10, I think.
You want the top 10? Alright,
Yeah.
then we go. Mashiro has no penalties. Not, I lie, he has 3 second time penalty, but almost a perfect race. Kiki, I think he has 3 second time penalty, although he's on his last warning. We can see Daniel, I think, with 9 second time penalty and 2 warnings. Behind him we can see the Alfa Romeo from Axnis that only has 2 penalties but no warnings. Jeffrey has no penalties, only 2 warnings. Storm surprisingly has 2 penalties, so 6 second time penalty for him. Hades has a 10 second time penalty, 13 second time penalty. Pariah has only 1 penalty, and Atlas, I think he only had 1 penalty, but he is on his last warning. And Puzzles, he's not the fastest, but pretty consistent with only 1 penalty at the start of the race, which is a bit surprising.
Yeah, so there we go. There is a top 10 rundown of the penalties that the guys have currently got out on track. I think just to speak about Mashiro's 3-second time penalty that he picked up, he picked that up on the last lap around. So that was lap 30 he picked that up on. So that's why. I think it was a cut through turn 1, I think, is where I think I might have picked it up on. But out on track, Mashiro is about to start the third last lap here. Yes, we've literally flown by. 32 out of 34 battle brigade, and Mashiro has got a 17.5-second lead. And well, this has just been one of the most dominant drives you might ever see in league racing. Mashiro has just controlled the race from start to finish. Fingers crossed, and touch wood, he is going to make it to the end in front with a commanding advantage, and he deserves driver of the day, I think. Brilliant drive so far.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Like, I have nothing to add. He's been outstanding today.
He has been outstanding. I think I was expecting you to say a little bit more there, to be honest. But I think we have covered the bread and butter of that, and Mashiro, 17.5 seconds clear, has really dominated that on track. Key, though, who had some good fights early on in the wet conditions, he's excelled himself as well in second, and he's proved to be, and I don't use this term too lightly, he's been best of the rest, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't do well in qualifying, but he's kept it clean, you know, out of incidents. On lap 1, I think he was already in third, and after the mistake that Pyraya did, he was able to go up to second. So I think he has taken advantage of others' driver mistakes. I definitely hope that Hades and Pyraya and Storm hadn't made those mistakes, because probably we would be talking about a great fight on these final laps. But it happened, you know. These three guys are now 6, 7, and 8. But Kiki, as I said, he taken advantage of others people's mistake, and he's made a pretty solid race. As we can see, Mashiro, I think he made a mistake.
Oh my god, yeah, he's lost 5 seconds on Key. I wonder if he's had a bit of a moment coming out of turn 1. I think that's where he might have had a bit of a hard spin out on track. He's on the penultimate lap of the race. Hades is trying his utmost to try and catch Storm, by the way. He's currently in 7th position, Storm in 6th. The Racing Point and the Toro Rosso picks up a 3-second time penalty. He doesn't need to be affording to pick those out. He looks like he's got the pace, but I just think he might be going at this a little bit too much out on track. He is using this pace to get in to contention to try and get Storm down the straight. Are we going to see side by side down towards the hairpin? Because look at the closing speed of Hades. This could be a job done down towards the hairpin here. Hades side by side then with Storm. These two contacted, remember, last week, and again they make contact here in Germany. Very similar to Silverstone, obviously through Maggots and Beckett, I think, is where they made contact with Hades now. And Storm on the inside line, just catching the grass there, I think, Hades. And again, a little bit of contact. It's getting dicey between these two. But Hades, to be honest, used a bit of his wit there, and he's got the move done on Storm.
Yeah, but I think Storm will have a run on Hades on the second straight, probably. I mean, this is not over, and probably we'll have to switch, because I think now Mashiro is on his final lap. So we'll have to get on board with him, but I'll keep here and I'll inform you, although we might see a fight before Mashiro crosses the finish line.
Yeah, Storm right on the back of Hades, and he's going to get the move done to turn 1, surely. Hades has run miles wide through turn 1. We're not going to go on board with Mashiro too lightly, because Storm is down the inside line. He's got the move done. I think he should have tried to play that a little bit too cool. Mashiro is coming around the final couple of corners. I want to see the battle, how it ends here between Hades and Storm, though. Hades and Storm side by side down the straight. These two made contact in Britain last week. Hades has got the move done. They split wide across the track, and Hades has got the move done, I think. Keep an eye on that one, because Mashiro crossed the line to win here in Japan. Here in the Japanese man, I should say, taking the win and hocking. Oh, goodness me, I'm getting excited. Key in 2nd position, and McLaren 1-2, all being well. He sets the fastest lap of the race and takes it from his teammate. So the Grand Slam not completed it for Mashiro out on track. Daniil in third, Axnes in fourth, but all attentions have to go back to the battle for sixth and seventh between Hades and Storm. Hades got moved down into the hairpin. Storm is trying to battle back here. Can the Racing Point find anything special coming through the final corner? I think in terms of penalties though, Hades has got more penalties than Storm. So Storm, I think, is going to be ahead possibly here. Across the line he is, miles ahead by 9.6 seconds, but a good battle between those two right at the end of the race. Pariah jumps Hades as well. Atlas Corpo, who ran well throughout the first half of the race, finishing in 9th position here, the Alfa Romeo man. We've got YWR Storm as well. Arguably, I think he's kept on going. He's got this to the end of the race. Many drivers have DNF'd, including Tom, Maximus and Mays, the only ones that have DNF'd. But Storm across the line to finish in 12th. And Parcells picks up the final point scoring position in 10th. And it looks like we just completed that race in time, because I think it might be beginning to rain again out on track.
Yeah, I mean, I think that when there are tricky conditions, you know, and changing condition, it's always brilliant racing. And maybe today it was not like the most exciting race, you know. We had some boring laps. I mean, we have to be honest, but we still have good battles. So I would be satisfied by the race we've watched today.
Mashiro then takes the top step of the podium. Key and Daniil take second and third as well. Of course, these are official, unofficial standings. A question in the comments section saying, why isn't Mashiro moved to League One yet? League One, remember, is full. So that's why he can't move up. And I think anyways, Mashiro will give himself a good chance to win the title here. He takes the win ahead of his teammate. His teammate stole the fastest lap, by the way, by 19 hundredths of a second. The cheeky so-and-so. I think Mashiro's not going to be happy with that one. But Mashiro wins. Key in second, Daniil in third, Axnes, Jeffrey, good performance from him in fifth, Storm in sixth, Pariah from Paul in seventh, Hades in eighth, Atlas Corpo in ninth, Parcells running off the top 10. Plenty of penalties there actually for Hades, 16 seconds worth. Shumi in 11th, YWR still missing out on his points but kept on going for 12th. Tom, Maximus and Mays. Unfortunate, I think, for Mays, to be honest. He drove well within the first half of the race, but he got caught up in a little bit of contact early on and, well, 15th position and a DNF, not really going to fill him with much confidence going forward. But next week is Hungary. It's a clean slate. What on earth do you expect these guys to do out on track? Do you expect it to be as close as it was at points out on track tonight?
I mean, I think that it's surprising because whenever we expect exciting racing, we don't get as much as we do. And when we say that maybe it's gonna be a difficult track to overtake, then is when we get good battles, you know, over the whole race. And probably Hungary is one of those tracks, and I don't want to curse the race, but it's one of those tracks which is really difficult to overtake. But seeing these drivers and what we've seen today, who knows? We might see a crazy race. So probably the guys will have to subscribe to the channel and wait for next week to see what happens.
You've said it before me. Yeah, drivers will, obviously everyone that is tuned in tonight will have to subscribe to the channel. If you're not, please do. We are, I think, on 426 subscribers coming into tonight. But an absolute fantastic race out on track tonight. It's Mashiro who took the win, and just a couple of points actually coming through on the comment section. I've just seen a comment come through there from Mashiro himself saying he was driving and I got reset to track out of nowhere.
Oh.
So it wasn't a mistake or anything, he just got reset to track, so I think that was a glitch within the game. Codemasters
had to show up like always. They do.
They definitely had to, and I think it's not a race without them, to be honest. And Martin and Christine Underwood coming in and saying a flashback to Mashiro's first season in TTG, which was last season, where he was very strong. I think we have seen the old Mashiro back. He's been unlucky in the first 3 rounds of the season. That performance has landed himself in the championship picture. And I think if he does the same week upon week, consistent results throughout, he could be a champion. and he could defend his title here in TTL F1 League 2. But of course, we are taking in the rest of the calendar. It is Hungary next week at Magna Naradec. That is the best pronunciation I can make of that, at the Hungaroring. That is it. Final thoughts then from Paco. Mashiro taking it out on track, but Hungary a different track altogether.
I mean, if things stay like they are, I mean, if there are no changes by penalties or whatever, right now Mashiro would go to Hungary with 6 points, I think, behind his teammate. Yeah, so I think it's gonna be a good track to see where each driver is, because Kiki today maybe didn't have, I mean, I think he had the disadvantage that he started way behind compared to his teammate. So we'll have to see if he's able to qualify well and if he's able to challenge his teammate, because I think that honestly the championship fight is gonna be decided between these two. I don't think any other driver will be involved in this title fight.
Well, you know what you're going to have to do? Like, comment, subscribe, click that notification bell if you are new, of course, and join us again next week for TTL F1 League 2 at Magna Naradec at the Hungaroring in Hungary. We will see you then. From myself, James Head, and Paco Suarez, thank you so much for watching. The final thoughts, I think, really plague the moment, I think. Well done to Mashiro out on track, but please, there is a much bigger fight out there. Stay home, protect the NHS, protect your health service, and save lives, and stay at home. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.